Okay, so welcome to our webinar series, third part, Innovative Strategies for Business, Charting New Frontiers. I'll be your host, Christian Warren. So there goes my profile. I won't be reading my entire profile by any stretch of the imagination. I'm an economist, I'm a banker, I wear many hats. I consider myself a serial entrepreneur. Right? I have a bachelor in business administration, finance and banking, and economics. And of course, economics being my favorite topic, these discussions are framed in an economic light, but they're structured to be relatable. Economics can sometimes be an area that seems to be just academic. Now we're making it very practical. So stay tuned as we go through the presentation. So we are thrilled to have you join us today as we embark on a journey through the realm of cutting edge business strategies and explore the uncharted territories of innovation. Throughout this webinar, we will delve into a myriad of innovative strategies that have the power to revolutionize the way we perceive and conduct business. From leveraging and emerging technologies to reimagine traditional practices, we will uncover actionable insights, inspirational ideas that can propel your business towards unprecedented growth and prosperity. So, three main pillars, of course, are innovation, strategy, and new markets. So, Frontier Business Advisory was started primarily for these reasons. We are deals advisors, financial advisors. So our aim is not just to do business plans for clients. Our aim is not just to do a single service for a client. Our aim is to get businesses and their owners engaged and on a growth path, on a significant growth path to the point where these companies can move beyond the shores of Jamaica. They can take on new markets, they can take on new flights. They can become listed companies, maybe on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, maybe on the Caribbean Stock Exchange, maybe even on the New York Stock Exchange. That is essentially what we aim to do for our clients. Business plan is just one of many of our services. We have financial statement analysis, we have financial modeling, and we perform financial advisory and a myriad of other services, which you will see in our next slide. I'll just give you a brief moment to look at these. These and or any other services that you may be inclined to learn more about. We can pose your questions in the chat. We can reach out after the end of the webinar as well, and we will be able to assist you. Also, we'd like to make this conversation, as I put it, as interactive as possible. So, of course, post a question in the chat, post your business. Let me tell you, this is an avenue for businesses to interrelate with each other. So it's not just the presenters today that are sharing ideas. We also want to learn from you and learn about your business and business interests, respectively. So we'll be looking at business development, branding, and marketing strategy as the presentation goes on. So my aspect of the presentation, so I would say I'm the opening act, right? Waiting for the main event. So the idea of market dynamics, it's really a strategy area. What we look to do here is to mix two areas. market industry concentration, as well as to blend it with what is considered Porter's five forces model, which is a strategic model that looks at market opportunities. So sometimes we, as entrepreneurs, we try our hand at something and we make some money. Making that money, sometimes eventually business slows. Now we're left scratching our heads. What happened? We've been doing the same thing we've been doing from the get-go. But that's it. That's exactly it. Business is so dynamic that the strategies or strategy that you started with in the first place may not be, maybe not, may eventually not be the strategy that will take it to the next level. I had a conversation today with that, what I would say is a potential client, because when I have these conversations, you're all my potential clients, all my potential business partners. Who knows, right? I may even be a client of yours. And I asked her, what is her main challenge? He said, financing. I said to her, okay, usually that is the answer. But usually, based on my experience, it's not just financing. And I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying financing is not an issue. It's just that usually it's not the only issue. And, after a brief discussion, I realized that there are things that she knew that she needed to do to set in place so that she can prepare herself. And simple things such as having a business bank account could be one of them, right? So I know usually we're not necessarily looking at the industry and how the industry is segmented, but these are important things. And let's go through a few of them. And by any means, if you know a few of these, please share your perspective. All ideas are welcome. So we look at market structures. Market structures really look at the characteristics, of a market, including number of firms in the industry, the nature of the products being sold, and the ease of entry for businesses. And we all know you can't just get up and start a bank. Well, maybe you could. You probably start a microfinance, a lending business from your home. But eventually, once you get big enough, you'll have to get registered, right? You'll have to pass. Now, these days, when the industry is now, when the Microcredit Act has been passed, you'll have to pass a fit and proper test, right? You'll have to go through the rigors of the BOJ monitoring, right? Now, just a nutshell, most microfinance firms to this day, I could tell you, they don't know why they have they are being monitored. No, they're being monitored simply because of what is called the Financial Action Task Force. The Financial Action Task Force is really a G7 initiative that pushes to have global compliance, reducing the likelihood of anti-money laundering and terrorist financing activities. Now, even though the BOJ here in Jamaica is the ones that are actually implementing the initiative, it's not being, as I said before, the push is actually coming from externally. Because Jamaica is currently on what is called a grey list, so potentially could be blacklisted if, I believe, a list of around 44 recommendations are not adequately addressed. The point of me bringing up that story is the fact that sometimes we operate in a business environment. Usually it doesn't affect us. So truth be told, we don't care. We're doing business. Business is good. Business is booming. So who cares about what is in a microcredit act? We're not lawyers, anyways, right? So you think, you are your breaks. Things have changed. No, you have to be adapting to the environment. And failure to adapt could simply mean you'll be out of business. So we have four primary market structures: perfect competition, monopolistic competition, and oligopoly and a monopoly. So we've heard monopoly all the time, right? Type in the chat, which company comes to mind? Or companies for that matter, when we hear about monopoly, for example. And of course, each structure has its different implication for market entry and growth, especially for small firms. So there are four primary structures, as I mentioned before. Here they are. We look a little bit deeper into their dynamics. So in a perfect competition, in a perfect world, though there's no such thing, there's a lot of buying and selling taking place, right? There are many small firms selling essentially identical products. So there's no single controlling point in the marketplace. Market entry is relatively easy, right? Because there are no real barriers to entry. And when I say there are no barriers to entry, of course there are barriers to entry. The cost, for example, to go and register your business, the cost to get a business bank account, the cost to get your TCC, right? The cost to get your equipment or your or your office supplies. So there are always costs. You may not think of these as barriers to entry, but if you don't have the money, as mentioned earlier, the business won't be able to grow or the business won't be able to start. So though it says no barriers to entry, I would say relatively low barriers to entry. So new firms can enter and exit the market relatively freely. But what happens in a perfect competition is that the intense competition essentially reduces profit margins. So it makes it challenging for small firms to actually achieve significant growth. Because imagine going into a perfect competition market. When the bigger firms see small companies, what will they likely do? They lower their prices. So they lower their prices, even though in the medium term or the short term, this lowering of prices will impact their bottom line or their profit line. It could essentially make the smaller firm bankrupt. And that is what usually happens. Now, in the monopolistic competition now, it is characterized by many firms selling similar but slightly differentiated products. So you can see the differences, the similarities with perfect and monopolistic competition, but the differences between them. So now it's similar but different. So here now, each firm has a degree of power because they can determine what are their prices. I would say, as a business consultant, there are many other business consultants offering similar services. They offer business plans, they offer consultations, they offer valuation, maybe, maybe not, right? So there are some similarities, but there are differences. So there you know have it. We're not necessarily competing with another firm because they do business plan. No, we do business plan a particular way. It's more in depth. We will say we are the standard. So if you're looking to raise capital, we are the standard versus some other company that may just give you a generic service, right? So entry of to bar, barriers to entry are relatively low, similar again to perfect competition, allowing small firms to enter the market. And using the example of a consultancy, I could say any one of us could go ahead and register a consulting firm. It's relatively, as it says, no or low barriers to entry. However, there are actual barriers because when you start consulting, especially when you're engaging certain agencies, when you're engaging certain government agencies for contracts, maybe, they're going to ask you for referrals. They're going to ask you how many clients have you had before. They're going to ask you who are your personnel that you have. What are the skill sets? What are the level of experiences? So though it's relatively low, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily expect a new graduate to be running a consultancy. It's not that it's impossible, but it's a lot less likely. So these are little things that, though they may not seem as barriers to entry, can become barriers. And the product differentiation here, as I mentioned, actually allows firms to charge their preferred prices. An oligopoly, no, exists when a few large firms dominate the market. These firms may sell what is called homogeneous or differentiated products. Entry barriers are actually high due to factors such as economies of scale. Economies of scale, essentially, you're producing high quantities of your product or service at lower prices. High initial investment requirements, so we mentioned the financial restrictions, right? And significant brand loyalty. So the banking industry actually fits in quite sprightly here as an oligopoly, because at the end of the day, large firms usually dominate. We can think of the banking industry in Jamaica, or the two big, which banks are the two biggest banks? right? So using that example now, when we look at a market, when you do a market analysis, and you say the market is valued at 300 billion, but we have two firms, and this is part of this, what I'm saying is anecdotal. You have two firms, what are that 300 billion? Those two firms dominate the market with a share of 200 billion. How large and how accessible really the market is. The value, the actual value of the market, no, would not be the actual 300 billion, because those two major firms, based on this description, they corner the market. So essentially, there's 100 billion left for everybody else to figure their way out. And so these are things that entrepreneurs like yourself need to actually look at and speak to the requisite persons that can help you through this process. So small firms will face substantial challenges entering these markets due to the dominance of established players. However, if successful, they can carve out a niche. One way they can be able to carve out a niche is to become better, cheaper, faster, right? I say to my entrepreneurs, if you wait, the window of opportunity for you to grow your business, sometimes you will miss those windows of opportunity. So here, one monopoly. A monopoly occurs when a single firm controls the entire market for products or services, or goods or services. Now, I don't know if you type JPS in the chat, but JPS is one of our well-known monopolies. Before I even knew myself properly, knew what a monopoly was, I knew what market structures were, were, I would have heard about JPS being a monopoly. To this day, not much has changed. The leadership team has changed. The ownership structure has changed with the mix of the Koreans and the Japanese, and the Jamaican government maintaining around 19% of it has changed. But largely, the fact that they, even though you have independent producers of power, as me and you, if we produce enough electricity that can supply the grid, we can actually sell it to the JPS, but we can't sell it directly to our neighbor, right? So those are things that, this type of market actually benefits from. So entry barriers are extremely high, because here you have to be going to jumping literally through the hoops of government and legal registration, legal requirements. Often you, as I said, legal, government, technological factors, making it impossible or nearly impossible for new firms to enter. Small firms here have virtually no opportunity of market entry. You can also type in the chat and tell me which of these were your favorites. So now let's consider the portal's five-forces model, right? Which analyzes all of what I've said. The threat of new entrants, bargaining power of suppliers, intensity of competitive rivalry. It is one of these things that I say to my entrepreneurs: come together. We don't necessarily have to be running the same business. Don't know if Raleigh says on this call, but she's one of those entrepreneurs that built her business during the pandemic. And what she was able to do is actually form a strategic partnership. She says lingerie and other female attire, right? And she's been able to actually get a storefront within an actual clothing store that doesn't necessarily sell the kind of products that she has. If more entrepreneurs were actually doing that, would have more businesses and would have more growth. So these are things that you can actually consider into how you maintain and grow your business. So the threat of new entrants in markets with low barriers. Example, before we mentioned perfect competition and monopolistic competition. Small firms face a higher threat of new entrants, increasing competition and potentially limiting their margins. So you're in the business for a couple of years, right? But just like how you enter the market relatively easily, they say easy come, easy go. So it begins now. It It's difficult. You have to be hitting the ground, even though you're in the business now 3 years and counting, doing relatively well, have your name. But it's so easy to start a business like your own. Tutus, they're out of business because you're just not having those healthy profit margins to keep your business going. In markets with high barriers to entry, example, oligopoly and monopoly, small firms may find it difficult or impossible to enter. So you see the differences here now. One, it's easy to enter, right? Enter. Enter at your own risk. But the other one, you literally can't enter. But the other two, you literally can't enter. And so those are things that are threatening small businesses. Now, I always say, if you're operating a small business and you want to remain small at your own risk. Because if you're in a perfect competition or near perfect competition, such as the monopolistic competition market, you face the risk of becoming insolvent very quickly because of the threat of new entrants. I say to my entrepreneurs, if you have a business, grow that business. Grow that business as if you wanted to sell that business. You may not want to sell. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that if you grow that business well, you may get an offer. You may get an offer that you can't refuse. But what if you don't get an offer? What if the big firm just come in and corner the market? And the big firm is not always an existing firm. It could be a new firm, but they come with heavy backers. And all they come and they corner the market. They don't need your business because your business is not viable enough. Your business doesn't have the kind of roots to really threaten and say, hey, you have to come through us. I say to all my entrepreneurs, say you want to grow your business because at the end of the day, if you choose to stay small, you find that you will come upon some of these threats, even though you're not realizing it. But this is why we speak of the market dynamics. Bargaining power. So in markets where buyers have significant bargaining power, and there are many substitutes available, right? Small firms may struggle to maintain profitability. In economics, they say when times are good, everybody buys luxury. So think of mackerel, right? It probably won't even be eating mackerel, eating steak, eating salmon, right? Eating conch or lobster, some other expensive seafood. But times are not great. You go to mackerel. So you might start with salt mackerel, but then you have tin mackerel. But then you have grace, you have the big guys, you have Lasco, you have Geddes, you have some other new brands, in fact, right? And you keep going. So it's important for firms, for entrepreneurs to notice these things. However, in niche markets, which are new markets, not only for nascent markets, that have differentiated products, small firms may have more bargaining power. So this is one of the reasons why it is always suggested that small firms find gaps within the existing market. Corner that gap. Say it's better to be a big fish in a small pond than to be a little fish in a big pond. But let me tell you how economics works. Just like how you see a shortage of tomatoes at some point in time, maybe based on diseases, based on tropical storm, or based on drought. Few months or several months down the line, you see everybody planting tomatoes. Why? Why? So I want somebody type in the chat. Type why. But I will tell you why. Simple. Because the prices have gone up. So when the prices go up in a certain market, so think of microfinance, one of the other things that is said, and it is a factor. But as I said before, the main factor is because of the financial action task force. But think about it. The industry is doing well because I'll say this before there was a move to regularize, banks, commercial banks, actually have been lending microloans. And you know how? How many of us have actually gotten payday loans? Who came up with payday loans? Those are microfinance institutions, known as loan sharks in the days go by. And I believe some people do still call them loan sharks. So the idea I'm painting here is that if a market is doing so well, the prices are going up, buyers are buying, buyers are demanding, eventually you will have a lot of firms in the market. The competition will increase. So never ever feel like you're making money. No, all right, making money. Nice, nice, nice. We love that. But eventually, what will happen? Those profits will begin to dry up if you're not retooling, if you're not becoming better or even cheaper or faster than your competition. And that is essentially what is called economics. Economics says that in the long run, there'll be no economic profit simply because of those reasons. In the short term, there'll be extra normal profits. But gradually, as they go along, when prices go up and everybody run to say, no, man, we need a piece of this pie, then the profits. And then I didn't say accounting profits, because accounting profit is different from economic profit. Now, bargaining power of suppliers. So small firms may face challenges if they rely on suppliers with significant bargaining power, and this can lead to higher input costs. So what small firms can do, form a collective, come together, negotiate, developing long-term relationships with suppliers or vertically integrate. Set of substitutes. Essentially, I delved into this area already. So high levels of competition, typically in a perfect competition and oligopoly, can make it difficult for small firms to gain market share and grow. Small firms may need to focus on niche markets or innovate to really compete. Even when you find those niche markets, you may still have to integrate. You may have to buy. One of the areas that have been growing significantly, and I know we have seen it, is the Korea market. You find a lot of shipping companies that will ship our items, whether it's coming from Amazon, whether it's coming from Temu, Alibaba. There are so many different shopping websites these days. There's a lot of these companies. Mailpack, for example, which is a publicly listed companies, have bought up several of these firms. So as I said, up to recently they bought a firm. Don't remember the name right now. Maybe by the time Dominique starts her presentation, I will get to look for the name and share it in the chat. But the point I'm making again, if that firm did not build up its traction and repertoire, they would not be in a place for a meal pack to make them an offer that they cannot refuse. That is what I'm saying, my entrepreneurs. Grow. And in summary, market structures and Porter's five forces model both play crucial roles in shaping opportunities and challenges for small firms in terms of market entry and growth. Understanding these factors, understanding the nature of your business can be the game changer in how you do business and grow, as opposed to saying, why it's hard, the government now do nothing for it, small business always a better time. The term of the day, frontier economy. This is characterized by relative scarcities and high prices, Jamaica, of capital, equipment, and skilled labor, and by relative abundance and low prices of natural resources. Because of these factors, producers will look to utilize natural resources instead of capital and skilled labor whenever possible. Do you see the connections with the term? Yes, those connections are quite fitting, I would say. So I know persons may have questions for me, but type them in the chat and we'll have that discussion as we go through meeting. I'll now do the introduction for Miss Dominique Martin. She's our main speaker tonight. So hopefully I didn't take up too much of the time today, right? But I do hope you learned something from my presentation. So Miss Dominique Martin, a highly accomplished professional with a remarkable portfolio of technical certifications, including Bitdefender Certified, right? MSP sales specialist, Bitdefender certified technical specialist. There's a lot of Bitdefender things going on, so she will have to tell you what Bitdefender is. Cybersecurity Fed certification, Monday.com. She has so many certifications and, of course, certification in project management. So these all underscore her unwavering dedication to staying at the forefront of the ever evolving industry landscape. Continuous learning, right? Currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in law and legal studies, Dominique holds the distinction of being a double distinguished president and a three-time recipient of the Kiwanis of the Year award. That's a big deal, right? At the Kiwanis Club of JPA St. Andrew. Boasting over 12 years of professional experience, her expertise spans administration, project management, general management, public relations, and marketing. That's very, very broad as well. With a solid academic foundation in social work and applied behavior analysis. Ms. Martin has diverse roles, including project officer, acting service delivery manager, general manager, loans officer, department trainee, so many to mention, right? Presently serving as the people planning and strategic manager at Resolve IT Limited and proudly functioning in the role of strategy and business development lead at Frontier Business Advisory. Dominique is a seasoned professional with a passion for growth and development. And her belief in philosophy, each one can teach one, is evident in her commitment to teaching and training, aiming to empower others to reach their full potential. She's widely regarded as an inspirational leader, and I'm sure you'll get some of that and more during her presentation. I will now hand over to Dominique, and I hope we will engage in her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Personal. Good evening, everyone. I'm just testing. Let me know if you're able to hear my voice. You can just drop your responses in the chat. So we're going to be talking this evening, not necessarily me presenting, but we're going to be having a very fun and interactive conversation about something that's very important, leveraging the marketing as a tool. What do we mean by strategic tools? What do we mean by business development? And then what does branding have to do with all of that? And then how do all three come together to make a successful business? And so the agenda this evening is very, very, very short. I promise you I won't be long. I'm just going to ask my moderator just navigate the presentation for me. Thank you. And so we're going to be talking about the importance of business development. What role does marketing play in branding? We do have to understand what branding is. How does integrated market and business development work? What is marketing as a tool? Leveraging digital market, which is very, very, very important. And of course, it makes no sense if you're doing all of this and you're not able to analyze and then use your data. Thank you, Rochelle. I see you're hearing well. Awesome. So that's the agenda. That's the discussion we're going to be having this evening. We're going to be having a very, very fun and interactive one. Now, let's go on to a quick game. And we're going to use about 3 minutes to play this game. I'm going to ask persons to just drop the responses in the chat, and the person who wins by getting the most correct answers will win a prize at the end of this presentation, right? So let's play. You're seeing on your screen a red and white box. Just tell me what comes to mind when you see that box. All right, you're seeing a burger, what comes to mind? You're seeing, all right, all the bright people at the front of the class. When you hear the word patty, what comes to mind? Sneakers, what brands come to mind? Paint shop, what comes to mind? And then we're talking about taglines. I hear the chat buzzing off. I'm going to ask Aaron, our personal, just to pay attention to the chat for me. Finger licking good. What company comes to mind? The quicker picker upper. Who said that? Whose tagline is that? And then finally, the men are going to get this one. The ultimate driving machine. Who is that? Right? No, quick, fun, simple game. OMG. All right, I see you guys. I see the BMW coming out. Quick and simple game. But what did we just do? I literally showed you images. I showed you a logo. I showed you words. I showed you words fused together to make a tagline, and automatically, instantaneously, persons were able to respond with the different brands and entities that are affiliated with these images and words and taglines. Why? Simply because somebody did branding right. Or maybe wrong, because it would still be etched in your mind. But this evening we're going to pay attention to the positive aspects of branding and the ability to just see an image, a word, or a tagline, and then immediately be able to respond with the brand, then that is branding done right. That is how you are able to get your brand in the market and how you're able to let the public know who you are, what you do, and what you're associated with. And so that's what we're going to talk about this evening. We're going to talk about the importance of business development. And I'm going to open my presentation, with a quick quote. Very, very impactful quote. And for the men who are on the webinar this evening who are familiar with building a house, you know that the first thing that you want to do is build a stable foundation. Having built a foundation now and it's sturdy and it sets precedence for you building the rest of that building, then you would have been able to set yourself or position yourself right. And so this quote speaks to business development laying the foundation, but branding builds the legacy, right? In today's dynamic marketplace, the fusion of strategic growth initiatives compels brand identity. It isn't just a choice, it's the cornerstone of sustaining success. What does that mean? It means that it's deliberate, it's thought out, it's strategic. And so the importance of business development speaks to the fact that it's crucial because it sets the stage for a brand to grow, for you to be recognized, for you to pursue different opportunities, for you to seek sponsorship and partnerships, which are very, very important. Next, we're going to talk about why business development is paramount. Why is it so very important? And we're going to pay attention to three very, very important components. So overall, business development plays a crucial role in driving growth, increasing revenue. And as you know, because you're all business owners or mostly business owners here this evening, we would have created our businesses for specific purposes. Either you're answering a question that was asked, either there's a gap that exists and you're now bridging that gap, either there was something that is missing and you're providing the result, you would have answered to something that is lacking. And so, having created your business, of course, it's important that you're going to now want to drive growth. You're going to want to increase your revenue. Of course, takes cash to care, as we often say, cash is king, as Prisnell would often say. What is important is that you're growing, you're increasing your revenue, and of course, in our last webinar, we paid attention to building strategic relationship and partnership. And so building a community where you're exchanging good and services. And so it's important to business development to increase revenue because, effective business development strategies often result in increased revenue. Business opportunities. Business can tap into additional sources of income, you're able to now be diverse. And having done that, you're able to now have initiatives and activities that are aimed at opportunities for growth, whether through expansion, whether through launching products, new products and or services, or again, forming strategic partnerships. And so that's one of the reasons why it's paramount. Now, for you to be able to execute a brand, developing a brand, you have to understand what branding is. And we often refer to our brand. And I would hasten to let you know that you are a brand yourself. Who you are encapsulates what you represent, your business, your brand identity, your brand image, and we're going to talk about brand equity and what are these things. So the concept of branding has been evolving. The modern definition posits that it's the process of creating a unique identity and a perception for a product and or service. It speaks to reputation management. Branding plays a crucial role in shaping your somebody's perception of your business, managing your reputation. A positive brand image, and I want you to pay attention to this. A positive brand image can enhance trust and credibility among customers, consumers, stakeholders, and the public in general. A negative brand reputation can do the exact opposite. It can lead to loss of trust, clearly, decreased loyalty, and reputational damage. And we can speak to this no matter how good your good or even your service, your goods and services are. If your reputation is damaged, go back a little bit. If your reputation is damaged, then it's almost impossible to do business where business is done. And that's just the reality because it is innate for us as human beings, as professionals, to want to identify with something that is positive. We want to identify with something that is good. And so we want to ensure that whatever we are aligned to, the public, unfortunately, this is our perception, the public approves of same. And so your identity now, which we so skillfully, can we mute? I think there's somebody who's not muted. Let's fix that. All right. So your brand identity, like we showed earlier, I was able to just mention or just show you some images and some logos and some tagline. And immediately you were able to identify these entities. The identity speaks to the visual and verbal element that distinguish a brand, including its logo, its colors, typography, tagline, and voice. So automatically it resonates with you because in your schemas, and your schema is that mental folder that you download and deposit information and stores it. So even subconsciously, you are able to save that information, having seen this brand that resonates with you over time. And so that speaks to the identity. The image now speaks to the perception, the associations that consumers have with the brand. You know, it's shaped by various factors such as the message that your brand puts out there, the quality of the customer experience. And we can all, I often hear that we don't have customer service in Jamaica. And it's unfortunate that we continue to say that. However, I was at, and this is a good thing, so I can mention them. I was at Devon House the other day, and there were four gentlemen there. There were tourists, and I heard the gentleman insisting that everyone who's inside hear him. And so I gave him my attention, and he was commending the cashier and the rest of the servers who were serving the ice cream to say, "You have exceptional customer service." And I did not expect that in Jamaica. No, we don't like to hear that, but we like the part where he's able to commend and say, "Listen, you're amazing." And so automatically that is deposited into my brain, and I'm going to always remember that. The reverse is true. If I'm there and there's bad customer service, I'm going to come on and I'm going to talk about it, because I often identify when these things happen and say, hey, let us do better, because your identity and your image for your brand is important. And then how does this differ from equity, brand equity? It's intangible value, the goodwill that a brand accrues over time. It reflects consumers' willingness to pay a premium for the brand, their loyalty and advocacy. So you would find that even if the brand is more expensive, if you can get the same item or service at another organization, you're going to go to this organization because you would have developed a relationship over time. You would have identified that this, when you go here, you get service. You like what you get. You like how you feel. Your day is impacted. You're enjoying the little time that you spend there. And so that is important. And so now we're going to move on to talk about some statistics. Now, Nielsen is a global institution that does research mainly on marketing. How does organizations and companies interact with the public? Does the public interact with these organizations? What data are they feeding out there? How are they identifying where to leverage? How are they identifying how to use marketing? How is the brand now positioned? And how are these persons winning? And a part of the statistics speaks to the fact that consumers prefer to buy from familiar brands, the brands that they know and trust, highlighting the importance of brand recognition facilitated through marketing. And that's how you leverage marketing. Now you would have had the foundation, you would have had your brand that you've built. You would have had this product that you are sure that you're sure that you're sure, like my lecturer would say, is good. And you want to share this with the public. That's just half of the work. You now have to ensure that you're marketing this. And so there are certain components that you have to use now where it comes on to marketing your brand. And there's certain components that you have to consider when you're going to now interact with the public for them to trust you, for them to want to do business with you. And so we're going to briefly look at those things now and how. And this is just some stats as well. We will be sharing this with you. One of the books that I'll suggest that you read is How Companies Win, because it then speaks to how persons are able, as I just said, to leverage marketing to share their brand. And so it shows you step by step how persons choose to spend their money, who people choose to spend their monies with, and they give you insight as to what you can do. And so I will be dropping that in the chat right after my presentation. But now we're going to look at something else. Can we skip? Strategies. So I created this acronym PEDS that speaks to market penetration, market expansion, product development, and strategic partnership and alliance. And why is this important? Here's why. No, market penetration focuses on increasing market share within the existing market. The strategy may involve, aggressive pricing. It may involve promotional campaigning. It may involve distributional channels. And you want to be able to know what price is a good price. There is something that the marketing gurus normally say when you're pricing anything at all, persons, and there's a psychology to it, and you can agree with me or disagree, you can put it in the chat if you've ever heard the term that, for example, if we're going to charge for the webinar, we're going to say $5 versus $4.99, you will find that persons will quickly pay the $4.99 and complain about $500. Well, $5. And you're like, well, it's just a dollar difference. It's understanding the market, understanding the psychology, because people are saying, yeah, it's just a dollar. However, yes, it's a dollar that I'm saving. And so it's understanding what to do and what not to do where the market is concerned. And then market expansion. In any organization, the aim is always to expand. I know we all that are on this evening are brilliant, brilliant people. Once you have a business, the aim for your business is to ensure that you are expanding, you're transcending borders. We like to say our products or our service is local and international. It brings a little buzz to it, right? And so you want to transcend borders. And then you want to ensure that you're always constantly developing your product, right? We One thing that is constant is that we have to evolve. We have to change, and especially in the era that we exist, we want to know that we're competitive, and that competitive edge speaks to the ability to be flexible, to be agile, to be able to successfully pivot and develop the brand, the product, the service or services that you are putting out to the public. And then partnership. Very, very important. I have learned over the years that, I mean, I was at a meeting the other day and somebody said, who are your competitors? And some persons were hesitant to respond. And then when the speaker said to me, you care to respond, Dominique, I said, I mean, it's an interesting question, but I often don't look at it that way. I would say I believe in partnership and alliance. So the market is huge. We all can have a foot in. And so I think marketing and branding and development, you have to strategically think, how do I position myself to build a brand which, will attract persons who want to be in partnership with me? How do I build relationship? And then how do we together successfully penetrate the market to expand, to continue to develop, and then to win? And so that is how I came up with the acronym PEDS, you know, to be very strategic in what you do and how you do it, just to ensure that you're not being selfish, you're winning, and you're helping the persons who you would normally look at as your competitor to win. And so we're going to talk about real quickly how we integrate marketing and business development. And we're going to look at a case study. Um, so one entity, an e-commerce retailer, launches a digital marketing campaign offering exclusive discount to new customers who sign up for their newsletters. Through targeted emails, marketing, and social media promotions, the retailer attracts potential customers, of course, and drives website traffic and converts leads into sales, ultimately driving revenue growth. What did I just say? Here's an entity, and I think we do have some developers on who can speak to how we can successfully use websites, e-commerce. Now, here's an entity who was able to identify a tool that would better get them to be positioned to get new customers, to understand where their customers are interacting with. For persons who do have websites, you can tell me, are you able to identify where and what your customers interact with most? Do you know where you get most of your sales from, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether it's other social media organizations or entities? Or do you even know that you're able to link your social media pages with your website? Do you know that you're able to track the interaction? Do you know that you're able to know what get the most click per seconds or per minute? Do you know that you're able to see how many persons comes to your website from Instagram versus Facebook? Do you know that you're able to see which aspect of your website your customers are interacting with most versus meaning your services? You're able to see what they're looking at. You're able to see the ads that they're interacting with. And this is a tool that you have at your fingertip. So why aren't we leveraging these tools to get data? And I'll talk about in short order what you do with the data and how you use the data. And then another entity that focuses on engagement and retention, a subscription based meal delivery service implements a customer retention program offering personalized recommendations, special discounts for loyal customers, and responsive customer support. Through targeted email marketing and social media engagement, the company strengthens customer relationships, reduces churn, and drives revenue growth for recurring subscriptions, right? And so it's the ability to strategically leverage the tools that are at your fingertip and then integrating for the win. Real simple. And so we're going to talk about the tool and how we use it. So we just looked at the case studies. We're going to talk about now how we integrate everything and then how we use it to ensure that we are winning. And so your digital presence is important. Very important. In an age where we have influencers. And I know some of us will look at some of these influencers and say, what? What are you influencing? But it's the era that we live in. The ability to just identify a an influencer is going to say two or three words about your brand, and then that booms your sales. Why? Because it's presence, and so digital presence is important. Digital marketing allows organizations to establish a strong online presence and build brand awareness. And that's why you can literally quit your 9 to 5, stay home, and just do a bunch of videos talking about everything and nothing and do well because you're able to successfully identify that you have the digital marketing to do and you're able to use that to win. And so digital presence as an organization is very important. Very extreme. I cannot stress enough how important this is. And then you have to have a target audience, right? Digital marketing enables organizations to target specific demographics, interests, and behavior. You are able to identify who you want your message to go to. What is the age group? Who are the persons? And this again comes from the information that is feeding to you through your social media pages and your website, because now you're seeing the persons who are now subscribing, persons who are now reaching out to you through your chat tool, the kind of questions that they're asking. And then of course automatically that's lead generation. And so you have to have marketing tactics such as search engine optimization, and that's what I was explaining earlier, content marketing, email marketing, pay per click. Advertising can be used generating leads and drive conversations. So you're knowing, for example, you have a website and you're marketing your skincare oils, for example, and you see persons are responding to, for example, you share something, this oil caters to sensitive skin, persons who have eczema, persons who continue to have flare ups. This oil is delicately fused with all the ingredients that you'd want to mention. It does not irritate your skin, especially now that summer is coming on and the eczema will be at an all time high. Here's the oil that you want to use. And you share that message. And here you find within a minute, 5 minutes, you would have already had about 100 persons clicking on that ad that was just placed. Now that's lead generation. You and your team now have the task of collating this information and then having your sales reps to be following up, to be responding to the questions, and the questions such as what is the cost? Do you do online purchases? Am I able to pay for this through your website? Where do you do delivery? How do I reach out to you? How do I learn more? And by reach out, I mean, can we have a discussion? Because, this is something that I want to learn more about. And so that's lead generation with the possibility of being turned into an opportunity and then closing the sale. And so having gathered all that data, you're able to make a informed decision. You're able to now analyze, and here I'll say to you, ensure that you have the specialists on your team, the persons who are able to take that raw data, analyze it, and give you reports for you to understand, okay, what do we do next? Do we need to push more of these ads based on our analyzation and our analysis? Information is coming back to us mostly through Instagram. Persons are now coming from Instagram to our websites, and we're seeing the interaction going on. So this is where we need to drive our ads so we can get the persons to join here. Or we're getting a number of queries on this particular service or product. It therefore means that we need to push this. We need to generate ads around this. But getting the data is one. What is very, very important is how the data is analyzed and then used as a marketing tool to now put very targeted ads out to continue to grow and retain your customers. Very, very important. And so, as I just mentioned, having gotten that data, now you're able to identify your KPIs, define the measurable goals for your marketing campaign, such as increasing website traffic, generating leads, or improving sales, or are you supposed to put out a billboard? Are you supposed to now share this data on other platforms? What do I do? What are the KPIs that I now need to use? Can we switch? What are the KPIs that we now need to use to be able to track the data that is coming in? And how do I analyze this information? And how do I monitor and evaluate the metrics? How do I now use this to create my ad campaign, to continue to put my brand out there, to be getting in the information that I need to do very targeted ads that are going to be yielding benefits? And finally, as I promised, I would be pretty short. In today's dynamic, can we switch? In today's dynamic marketplace, the intersection of branding and marketing and business development forms the cornerstone of sustainable success. By aligning strategic branding with initiatives, with proactive business development strategies, organization can unlock unparalleled, unparalleled opportunities for growth, differentiation, and lasting impact. So, business development is not just about expanding, it's not about getting the revenue, it's about being strategic and tactical in how you do it. How do you build your brand? How do you share the brand that you have built? And then, how do you know analyze the data that is coming in from all those analytics? And then, how do you sell? Very, very important. And so we want to ensure that we're keeping at the forefront of our brand, the identity. What do I look like? What, and I mean the organization, what does it say to the public? Is this something that I as a customer would want to interact with? Does this encapsulate something that is positive, something that is built, that is bridging the gap, something that is answering questions, something that is yielding positive results? How do I also, while doing so, leverage the partnerships and relationships that are present to me so that we all are winning in this market? How do I share my brand? How do I ensure that in this age of technology, I'm using all the tools that are available to me? And if I don't understand, I'll seek to understand, because I have the experts that I can connect with. And then once I have done so and I've positioned myself in the right community, I have the foundation, I have built my brand. And so then I ensure that I remain consistent with my marketing. And here I would have win. I would have created a strategic tactical plan that will position me at front and center to continue to share my brand and to continue to market with the focus of winning. Real simple but deliberate. And so I think that concludes my very short presentation this evening. I hope that we would have learned something. If you have any questions, you can direct them to the moderator. I'm kidding. You can ask your questions. If you don't have any, then I'll just go ahead and hand over to our host. So thank you for listening to me this evening. It was a pleasure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a wonderful presentation by Miss Dominique Martin. Went into a lot of information on marketing strategies, dovetailing the overall conversation. There, Marvin expressing, sharing my sentiment, but as I said, great presentation, very detailed. And the floor is open. Ask away, you have the opportunity to open your microphone and share something, even share something about your business. Share something that you learned today, right? This is the time for it. We'll also be doing a spotlight of one of our clients, and if there's no questions immediately, we will move into that segment. Emotional outbursts, right? So we welcome those as well. Tasties, juicy. Oh, I gone way up in the chat. Okay. All right. So no emotional outbursts. I can't seem to pass this slide. Okay. All right. So our client highlight. I believe Renee is on. Renee, the floor is yours.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Am I to read this?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Am I to read this personnel?
No, your bio. You don't need to read your bio. I can read it for you. So Renee is a dynamic educator, everyone. Has I wouldn't even read the bio. So Renee, everyone really started out during the pandemic. So, you know, the saying goes, never waste a good pandemic, right? Renee really started helping out kids in our farmer community with their reading, with engagement. I could say personally, I saw some of these kids and they've grown tremendously, right? When you talk about their social development, their interactiveness, what she has done is truly inspirational. And that is how she started Gifted Academy. Now, she can share a little bit more about maybe why she started, what is she doing now, and what she'll be doing in the future. The floor is now yours, Renee.
Thank you, personnel, for giving me this opportunity to share. My son is also saying hi to everyone. So, as we all know, reading and writing is very important in our society. You know, literacy is not just a skill for the classroom; it is a lifelong journey for learning and self improvement. Right? I am a business educator at a high school. Believe it or not, there are students in my class at grade 11 who cannot read. It shows in their behavior. So, this is to say, reading is very important in how persons go about their daily lives and what they will become. And the government would have spoke so many times about the literacy rate being too high in Jamaica. And that's one of the reasons why our economic is the way it is now, right? Persons are having real challenge, and once I hear the word challenge, okay, I'm here. I'll solve the problem. So I don't want to be a part of the issue. I want to be a part of a solution. And Gifted Academic is here to help not only kids, even though our main focus is on them. I do from time to time would get adults, but they are, what's the right word, a bit shy or insecure and don't want to come forward in terms of for the help. So I don't really get much adults to assist, but I want to start small, and the best age to begin is with the kids. Now, I'm very passionate about youth. So it's not really an education thing for me. It's just about the young people them. Anywhere they are, I want to think of ways in which I can have fun with them and at the same time allow them to learn something. Because we realize that when I was going to high school or even school in a whole, teachers didn't come with fun, interactive and educational information and games for us to play. So I decided that when I become a teacher, I want to be different, and that is what I have been doing. There, I have a lot more that I want to offer, but things have to take time. I'm acting right now, and I'm trying my best to see how best I can help a lot of persons. So we are looking at expanding for the year end. Um, One of our major event that will be coming up is our summer intervention. We had it last year for the first time, and it was very successful. I was able to meet my target. My plan was to have 30 students, and I went over the 30. I believe it was 35. So that was really great for me. Now this year our target is 80, maybe 100 this time. So I'm looking forward to that. So our intervention will be reading. However, there will be a twist also in by persons who can read in terms of students between ages 4 to 12. We will be introducing STEM, literacy, and business lit. What that does, STEM means science, technology, engineering, and math. We realize that the world is moving towards STEM, so we have to go where the world is moving and introduce kids and get them exposed to what really and truly matter. So even though my kids at high school they are not where they should be at reading, I truly believe that the education system need to meet them where they are. They will learn to read once you provide that environment for them. And they are really and truly not providing that environment, even though some school they are trying. But I am here to offer that during the summer. So if you know of anyone who has kids who are struggling readers, you can tell them about our program. There isn't any flyer as yet because I'm having a bit of a challenge with the location because where we are now, I am not able to use it in the summer. By the way, everyone, we are in Apple Tree at YMCA. That's 21 Oak Road. So if you want to speak more regarding that, you can reach us on Instagram at Gifted Academy or you can call 2243880. So
Yeah.
what else
You
am
can
I
share the
missing
information in the chat as well when
in
you're
the chat?
finished, Renee.
So I want to make a difference in our society, and hopefully I will be touching on all 14 parishes in the next 2 years. All right, and over to you, Mr. Warren.
So I thought here would see more hands clapping going up. I mean, commendations to you, Renee. It's really amazing to see you out there wanting to make a difference and not just wanting to do it, but actually doing it. And I'll also charge some of our persons or on or entrepreneurs that are on this evening to connect with Renee to help. I mean, I am willing to join. I know our clubs, some of the clubs that are present this evening. Well, let me speak for my club. We're willing to join and to make a difference. And so what I don't understand, Renee, is how you just hesitated to come out and share all of this amazing work that you're doing. You're supposed to just get a speaker and just shout it out loud. So hurry up and release the flyer so we can share it. But come and your team, and please be sure to drop the information in terms of your credentials, how you can be contacted, etc. in the chat. Good job.
So yes, well said, Dominique. Renee is an innovator. I was personally, you know, looking and observing, just how happy these kids were, how engaged they were. And as I said, it's really not just about reading, it's the overall interaction that the reading, being able to read really is the window to the world. This is one of the games that I'm not sure if you guys are able to see this properly. It actually is the popular cube that we usually have, but it has a twist. It has some letters on it, and this is something that Renee has come up with. And so, as Dominique says, it's almost like Renee's Gifted Academy is one of the best kept secrets because Renee is there sitting and saying, "Oh, like to try to go and sell the business." This is really a game changer, and I can definitely say Gifted Academy is one of those businesses that is going places. And I know the aunties and the uncles are in the chat as well, but alongside some of the appearances. So give Renee a call or text or what, send an email and connect with her on that. you know, this is also the segment. If you have any other questions, you can pose them. We do have a little bit of time that we can see any other business owner that wants to. Because let me tell you, as entrepreneurs, we are no strangers here. I see Sabrina. Go ahead, Sabrina.
Good
Shoot your
evening,
shot.
everyone. Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, I cannot turn on my camera right now. Um, I hope to meet all of you soon. My name is Sabrina Hilton. I am the founder of an authentic Jamaican skincare line, Bree Botanicals. Currently, our line extends to organic soaps. We do body butters as well as oil moisturizers. We cater to a wide range of skin ailments. We also are in the market for strategic partnerships. Big commendations to Frontier um, and Presnell for being my business advisors. But Bree Botanicals is looking to transcend the borders and launch out into the Caribbean and the North American continent in the coming years. So if feel free to send me a WhatsApp or call me. My number is 876-372-9392. You can find me on Instagram, re_botanicals. Um, so yeah, feel free to just send me a message if you have any skin conditions or if you just need to maintain what you have, then we can have a conversation. Thank you so much for allowing me to share, and I hope to meet all of you
Most
sometime in the
definitely,
future.
Sabrina. I believe your products can also be found in Fontana. I don't
Yes.
remember if you said that, but
Yes,
yes.
we're currently in Fontana Pharmacy Waterloo location, and we're looking to get to some other businesses soon in the coming months.
Man, and congratulations on that. So we're
Thank you so
looking for growth, guys. As I said before, we are looking to grow. We're growing together, right? We're no strangers here. Even if it's your first time, you're welcome to share. This is the time, right? And I say to my entrepreneurs, it's always a good time to share your business. You want to go ahead, Renee?
I'm unable to send a message in the chat.
You're unable to send messages? All right, you can, if you could, all right, you could send me a WhatsApp and I will try to get the information out. I see Michelle, you can go ahead. Unmute and go ahead.
Hi, good night.
Good
I'm
evening.
Ingrid here. My name is Michelle Walker. I am the owner of Marble Hair Care. So I make hair growth oils. Well, I have a full hair care line, but the main products are, hair growth products. So they cater to persons with like, type 4C hair, which is like kinky hair. Typically skincare hair would struggle with like breakage and slow hair growth and bald spots or like thin edges and so on. So my products really help to grow out those problem areas and help your hair to be healthier overall. So we offer like your moisturizer, your scalp spray, like in case you have eczema as well and so on. So if anyone's interested or want to just check out the page, Generally speaking, you could contact me at 508-5084. And my Instagram page is Marabelle Hair Care. So that's Marabelle dot hair care on Instagram. So thank you so much for allowing me to share. I really
You're
appreciate it.
most welcome. And please type that information in the chat as well, so we
I'll
can have,
definitely do that.
yes. But Canon, you can go ahead.
All right, so good night, everyone. You
Good
guys hear me
evening.
good?
Yeah, man.
Okay, great. So I'm a director at Smith Sun Cream. We are a Jamaican-based sun cream company. We manufacture our own products in-house, and we offer 4 different flavors of sun cream. One of the main distinguishing factors that separates us from our competitors is that all our products are lactose-free, and that makes us the first and only lactose-free rum cream there is. Um, Again, we're Clarendon based, so we're mostly in outlets in Clarendon. However, we are looking to expand into Kingston more. We're at Devon House, Norman Manley. We're also in a few resorts on the west in the Grill. But yeah, we are looking to grow and expand firstly into Kingston and then to other cities across the island. Again, the
That's
company name is Smith Sun Cream. You can type that into Instagram, you can reach out to us. I'll also leave my contact if anyone wants
yeah,
to reach
man.
out to me.
Please do. Please leave the contact details in the chat. And for those of us who are too shy, I don't know why, but you're too shy to speak, share your information in the chat. This is a place where we learn and we grow and we network with each other. I believe Dominique had something to say. She can go ahead.
Thanks. So mother, I see where you joined. I'm gonna ask you please to also share about your business. Please let me know if you're able to hear me, Primrose. I would love for you to share your business with the persons who are on this evening. So I'm gonna ask you to unmute. And Bree, you have a sale, you have a marketing officer in the chat. I see where Marvin is saying his skin has been extremely sexy since he started using your product. So big up to Bree
Yes,
Botanicals.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Marvin. Send your friends and family my way. Appreciate the love.
So, so it's a Marvin, you get the good
Hi.
thing then.
Yes, happy to hear.
What? Look here. Ever since I used her product, I was like, wow. And even so, I've had the pleasure of interviewing both these. So I'm familiar with Miss Hilton and Mr. Wine, and possibly others in the group. But this has been quite an engaging forum or platform just to meet and to be refreshed on. Even today, all right, so I'll share something personal. I've recently separated from my company for over a year, and I'm like, I'm literally in the stage where I'm saying, you know what? Do I really want to go back and work for somebody else? And I said, hey, but everybody around me is working for themselves. What can you do for yourself? And then one of my problem is I have too many talents. I will do photography, writing. I am all across the board because an incorrect, and you can correct me too, prisoner. An incorrect thinking is that look, or I like quotes, is that you can do several things and get rich. And the quote said, no, it's the opposite. You do one thing that you're very good at, and that's how you actually get rich. Prisoner, you're a testimony to that. Miss Hilton, you're a testimony to that. And I speak this into being today. I said, you know what? And literally, I've been today in several meetings, and I've been interviewing all week. And I'm like, if so many people can see it's the value of me, why are you not doing it for yourself?
Yeah.
And you know what? It really is the
You're a
fear.
preacher, Tina Marvin, you know that.
Yeah, and it's the fear. It's really is the fear, and it's like but being here and just even hearing the presentation from Renee, like Renee, you hit the point, you hit the ball on the head. Um, I like your presentation, even the importance of marketing. That's a recurring conversation that I've had today. But Renee, thank you deeply because your presentation literally helped me today, and it was a sign from God. Sorry for taking up so much time. I'm just happy and excited to be here. I'll now leave the floor.
All right.
Hi, pleasant night. Primrose here.
Good evening.
Hi, mother.
Yes. Hi, Trish. How you doing? Yes. So I am Primrose Palmer Blackford, and I am all the way in Saint Mary. I specialize in interior design. However, when I heard the person that spoke before me, he was saying that he does so many things. I sometimes think that is why I get myself in trouble because I put my hands on too much things. And so it kind of, I'm not getting where I would really want to, because, there's always room for improvement. But as I said, I do decor. So wherever there is a space, I decorate it. So I do from the living to the dead, meaning I do parties, I do function, I do homes. I specialize in drapery and cushions and you name the space, the bedroom, the wherever. I'm good at that. And I also do, as I say, I do graves. So your final resting place or the final resting place of our loved ones or so, of course, I do that. I do throws for beds. I also do cleaning for drapery, steam and clean. It's my passion. I love it. And I also can be found on Facebook, Prim's Interior Design. Once we get there, I missed out on a lot of what was being said because I came in late. I wasn't here, so I came in late. So I am not even sure, but I'm just letting.
Well, the video
Um,
presentation will be shared. It will be shared with all the attendees and everyone who signed up. I always say it's
mhm,
one of the things that even if you can't make it to our webinar, do sign up. You'll be on the mailing list that you'll be able to
beautiful.
get. I see the coder had and hand up. You can go ahead, the coder.
All right, thank you.
It's
Good night, everyone.
good evening,
Everyone,
Dakota.
hi, good evening. My name is Dakota Davis. I am the owner of Centered Scribe Writing Agency. It's a full suite writing agency. We do speech writing, I do proposal writing, specifically grant funding for nonprofits and causes, but also for businesses, starting business development grants and so on. We do technical writing, manuals, user guides, and so on. So, and basically any type of business writing needs. So, you can find us on Instagram at Centered Scribe, and that is CENTRED at on Instagram. So, I will also leave the information in the chat and a link. So thank you
Yep.
for allowing me to
Thank you for
share
that,
and good
Dakota.
night to
Please,
everyone.
please do share
Oh,
that.
I'm so sorry. And business plans. I know that's I forgot to say that. We do business plans and strategic planning. I know that's probably something that's more relevant for, some of the old younger businesses that are just starting up and you have these ideas, but you want to put it together. We can do a business plan for you or a strategic plan for your next years or so, if that's where you are in your business. So sorry.
All right. Thank you. Share the information in the chat and everyone can network. I want to see if Rohan is on. I would just like him to share 30 seconds of some of the projects he's been working on, and particularly a cybersecurity tool that he's been working on. So Rohan, if you can hear me, you have 30 seconds to go. I will take one other business and then we will move, I believe, for a giveaway.
Night, everyone. Everyone hearing me?
Yeah, man, we're hearing you, Rohan.
All right, night. Everyone, as Krishnel introduced, I'm Rohan Cooper. I'm a, let's say, IT specialist. I specialize in cloud technologies, cloud security, stuff like that. And Krishnel brought up a project that I'm working on, which is basically data protection through using artificial intelligence and network strengthening using artificial intelligence, whereas basically you would incorporate this technology into your environment and it automatically brings up threats or possible um, threats in your business and areas that present security risks, whether it's from a technological side or it's from a data side, whereas, for example, you have your email unprotected, you have things like that, or things like data in transit. So, you're sending out emails. What if your emails are being, um, intercepted in the middle and then used for attacks? Things like that. It will tell you right out the gate, right? And I'm really looking to basically, demo that in a few environments. So I would love if people would, um, allow me to, share their interest in such a technology being implemented in their business, because it would help not only business grow, but other businesses and the overall technological space in Jamaica to basically grow to that level where we have that respect for technology and data and all that. Because as you see, the world is becoming more of an automated place and more of a technological space where it's not just face-to-face business, brick and mortar business. It's more digital businesses, and we use digital products to move our business forward. And for the most part, most of what you do is going to be done on a digital platform or some form of technological space. So yeah, pretty much that's it. But there is more to my business, but um really right now that's the main focus, just to see how we can get that going and basically push that out to the Jamaican environment and see how we can make Jamaica a better place for businesses and a safer place for our data, because I think that's priority number one. As you can see, government is going there, there's a lot of legislation going there, so why not just keep up with the times?
All right, thank you for that, Rohan. I believe Rohan will need a presentation for himself. Quite a brilliant guy. I can tell you in-house here, Rohan is one of our business partners because I was trying to move from Google Workspace to Microsoft. Ron actually helped me with the process, right? And it's a process that probably would have taken me days to figure out. We did in a few hours. So, these are very important thing as your business grow, as you look to, involve technological tools, you know, it's very important that we safeguard our business. So share information in the chat, Rohan, and interested persons do take his information and we can continue the conversation from there. Now we have the giveaway segment, and I'll turn over to Dominique, and she can also close out the meeting as we wrap up.
All right, so as we often say, we don't take it for granted once you spend any time here with us at Frontier. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And so I do have some work to do. I'll be going back through the messages to see who got the most amount of answers right, and then I'll be reaching out to let you know who the winner is. But this is a giveaway courtesy of Everlasting Essence. This is a candle that was handmade or crafted by Jamaican for Jamaican. Anybody knows whose tagline that is? And so, yes, we're going to be. I'm going to reach out to you and then tell you who the winner is. Unfortunately, our moderator and the other designated person was not paying attention. Sincere apologies. But I will be reaching out to tell you who the winner is and have your giveaway delivered to you. That said, thank you so much for stopping by Frontier this evening for our webinar. It was a pleasure to host you. You can continue to drop your business service details in the chat, and we'll definitely be sharing them. And so we want to just tell you, though, we do have two more webinars coming up. Our final webinar will be June 13th, 2024. Before that, we do have one on May 9th, 2024. And so we will be sending out the details in short order for you to go ahead and RSVP and then be at those two webinars that we have left. Once more, thank you for your time and do enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us this evening.